sit down, and then I'd come in. I'm going to drape his arm over my knee here. And this gives me this little handle so I can rock him back and forth and get some of this to open. It gets him to release and relax his spine a bit. I'm going to lean his head over and forward, creates a little space here. You notice that I drop my leg down because if I keep his arm craned up, it creates like a little pinch here. But if I give him some space, it just feels more comfortable. In this junction, if he came in and said this was the problem, I'm just going to come in and I'm going to put just a little bit of pressure right there. He's got upper back and neck tension. Usually it's the junction between the upper back and the cervical spine. Trapezius, levator scapula, is it splenius capitis, I think that goes down. Muscles along the neck here that are causing issues. I'm just going to lean in and work on those guys, and I'm still got some pressure, but you see there's still this little bit of movement. I've also got this little tricep roll if I want to work on his arm. You're connecting the arms to the upper back and the neck. And when you say, how do I fit it in an hour? Well, if this is the first time I've ever worked on him, he's never worked on a mat, so we could transition him by having him sit first. And what I've basically done is said, I know where the problem is. I'm going to work on this. After I've worked on that for just a bit, I may then have him turn and just lay down on his back. And you'll remember in class, Amy, when we talked about upper back stuff. So if he's having a problem with his upper back, this is his left side, this is his right. I may start here and just give him a little bit of a twist, right? I'm trying to access his rhomboids, access his trapezius. I'm just leaning and hanging out. We've already let him know that we kind of know what's going on. I can always reach around these little movements here. And then I can switch. Opposite side. If he's having upper back problems, I can glance over the legs. I can do some larger stretches and not have to go into any really detailed line work. It just kind of depends. You're really going to have to feel it out as you work with clients. You will learn more just from practice. But you just continue working on people and figure it out. It's a little bit like when you started in massage school. Like, how did you figure out how to take the sewage sequence and do it in 30 minutes? Legs at all. I've come right into here to work on this.
Oh, that's good.
And I'm just jostling him around. He's commenting on how good it feels. I've changed my body position a little bit just so you can see on the camera. So, this hand's just hanging out. I'm rocking him on my fingers. It's really cross-fiber friction at the paraspinal erectors. And then, same thing, opposite side. I could easily, just out of this piece, I could easily get 15 to 20 minutes out of that little bit of seated work and out of this. And if you're doing an hour, you've only got 40 minutes left. That's where I lead him through stretches in his legs, just mobilize those. You could turn him prone and do the pages where I'm finger pressing or palm pressing the back lines. Working up towards something that looks like Cobra maybe. The sequences are not the end. Those sequences are just to get you started. My work is so improvisational that no two sessions are exactly the same. And in fact, my clients tell me that they really like the fact that, even clients that see me once a week, the sessions are 3 hours, but they still say they can't believe that I'm able to improvise as much as I do, because if Josh comes in next week telling me his hand hurts, I may spend 20 or 30 minutes working on his hand and forearm. And the whole session is different because of that, because I started with that and then I move on to whatever else I think is immobile or restricted. So again, We went to where he was having problems. We know he likes this. We can see it on his face. I'm doing very little work. I'm able to talk to you while I'm working on him, getting the stuff moving around. I've addressed some of what's in his upper back, even if, let's say, we did the seated work and you really like that. I can work on his legs and glutes, palm press the back lines, fudge it a bit. I think, Amy, you'd also asked about sin lines and sin line theory. I don't interpret sin lines the way other teachers do. I have very specific ideas of what they are, but it's not Asian esoterica in any way. I think it's very simple, just matter of fact, areas of the body to work to release tension. Nothing really energetic about it in the sense of my work is moving towards pain science. It's moving towards what can actually be studied. I can tell you what I find in clinical experience, and what I find in clinical experience is people walk out completely pain-free and my bank account keeps getting larger. I want the science too, but resorting to like Asian esoterica just doesn't work for me. I'm not going to Thailand to learn the Thai secrets. I just don't think it works that way. It's like you got to do good body work on people and keep exploring. The reason the clients have a large rapport with me is because when Josh comes in and says he's having problems with his upper back, I work on his upper back. He knows that, I bust it. I do everything I can to make his session as good as possible. Now see, this is me. This is me improvising as I'm talking to you, because immediately I get into his right arm. He's got some issues with his right shoulder. We worked on some of these last night at Thai Massage Jam. And I'm coming in and lengthening this whole arm and shoulder, because as I moved him around, it felt restricted. This feels free, smooth. This way, restricted. And I'm helping him work through that restriction. And you're like, Robert, you didn't teach us that in class. Oh, yes. Yes, I did. I taught you the foundation that you're going to build your practice on, because I taught you scales, and then you're going to keep growing. Don't feel stuck. Keep flowing and moving. If you're going to work on low back, so he said, he's having more upper back issues. If he was saying low back, I'm going to do the leg sequences. I'm going to put him in my holster. And here's the thing, people think I'm working on legs, and partially that's true. But also what I'm working by using the femur as a handle to access his pelvic bowl. What does that do to his sacrum? What does that do to his low back? His entire sacrum moves. We're softening and loosening his lumbar vertebra, but not touching there. And that's why the work is so effective, because muscles cause movement. We're using movement to unwind those muscles. That's why it works so well. It's exceedingly, exceedingly simple. I can give him a little helicopter there. If he's having problems with his low back, that's what I'm going to go into. I'm going to go into this, panning his sacrum, the other direction, working on his gluteals, a little tight. I look at his facial expression just to see. It's too much pressure. He's giving me a little sigh there, but his face looks okay. That's probably right to his edge. Give him a little hamstring stretch. Oh, see? Part of it as well, when you work on people, let's say he doesn't have very open hamstrings. So, doesn't matter. You give him a little bit of length. Part of what you're doing isn't just removing the client's pain.